Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Enter the Ring Live on Sunday, December the 12th, 2021, with my brothers and co-hosts, AJ Rage and Eric the Red. I stole your guys' thunder today because I don't know what I'm doing.
It's okay, bro.
I'm Mighty Mike.
He's Mighty Mike.
Sorry, guys. I just got a belly full of Raising Canes right now. I just scarfed down some food.
Hey, you remember the Tilted Kilt Hooray by my house?
Yeah, closed down.
On the down low we've never been to before, but
I went there and saw a few fights. They showed all the
I was
fights.
there with you. I was there with you to see the
what is it now? It's a Raising Canes now?
They actually are turning it into a Raising Canes, but they actually tore it down completely.
And just that, what a waste of a nice building.
I still don't know. And anybody that might know out there what happened to Tilted Kilt,
something happened.
Hills, because if you look to the window, I'm sorry, I got to fix my little filter here. If you look through the window, it looked like there was still food and drinks on the table.
Something happened.
And it just shut down.
They sent everybody home, man. It was like when it was like in the movie Casino when they took over the Tangiers and people were still they just came with the yellow tape and taped it all off.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyways, let's start with a little update. Eric, how you doing up there, man? Is it cold and rainy?
It's cold, man. It's cold.
I hear you guys are gonna get a lot of rain. Yeah. We're gonna get a lot of rain here. I think starting tomorrow. Late tomorrow. You
guys need it though.
We're supposed to get a lot of rain and snow.
We don't want any more rain. Just and I have one of the smartest kids in the world actually working for me, and he said that we're in like a double El Nino
or La Nina or whatever
year or something like that. So it's going to actually be double of what it normally is. So yay! Great.
That's all we do.
Well, we need the rain, but the problem is that we don't get it in increments. We get downpours, and then it all just, all the fire areas, it just mudslides and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So, AJ, you're in your home studio today, right? You're not in your little.
Yeah, I was gonna go and sit in my normal studio, but then I saw how
cold out there. It's cold, man.
So I went from drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade to sitting on my nice cozy couch drinking my Santa needs cookies cup with my coffee and
So hey guys, I just want to let you guys know I'm gonna probably have to put out early because we've got a room starting it in I don't know about 30 minutes or so.
Oh well, that's good. That's good. That's a good reason.
Yeah.
So let's jump right to it then. We're at 6:04. Let's jump right to it.
Let's jump to it.
Okay, we had a full action of boxing. I mean, we have every platform. I think we had fights on Showtime. We had fights on DAZN. We had fights on ESPN. Actually, two different cards on DAZN.
There's a total of 56 fights over every platform.
Yeah, there was a ton of fights on Saturday. Ton of fights on Saturday. I mean, as early as like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I think I was watching the fights coming from Russia.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, all the way until late last night. 9 o'clock on the West Coast, midnight on the East Coast was the main event on ESPN, and then after that was the Nonito Donaire fight in Carson. So let's go ahead and start with the UK card. We're going to talk about the main event in that fight was Conor Benn versus Chris Algieri. But leading up to that, the co-main event was Katie Taylor again fighting. She wins a unanimous 10-round decision, which I don't understand. I understand they go 2-minute rounds, but why are the women not fighting 12 rounds if it's a title fight, and especially an undisputed title fight? I'm so confused by this.
I couldn't even tell you, bro. It's mind-boggling to me. It's like anything, I mean, you always got people clamoring out there saying women are just as good as men, and I don't want to bring up this whole subject, but then you still got events where you got 2-minute rounds and you got 10-round championship events. I don't know. It's my biggest thing is how long, without letting out any secrets, how long is Eddie Hearn going to be able to protect Katie Taylor? How long?
Very true, because what we saw was not reflected in what the judges turned in that fight. I'm not saying that Sharapova won the fight. I'm saying I had her up midway through the fight. She was winning the fight. She won the first 2 rounds easily. Third round questionable, maybe won the fourth. Gave away a couple of middle rounds for just a little bit of non-activity. But overall, I thought at worst, she deserved a draw. At worst. Then the cards are read, and they're just completely out of left field.
And it's like that with every Katie Taylor fight. I'm going to say right now, I don't have anything personal against Katie. She seems like she's a nice girl. I can't understand her for shit. She sounds like a complete Irish drunk, when she talks. But to be honest with you, the fact that she could keep a straight face and accept these ridiculous decisions that are being gift wrapped and handed to her against, honestly, a girl that was supposed to be a soft touch, and she wasn't.
And she wasn't. The best punch Katie Taylor landed was a headbutt that opened up a cut over Sharapova's eye. Right, trying to change the dynamics of the fight a little bit, but Sharapova was you could
the better skilled fighter,
the better skilled fighter by far. Katie Taylor likes to throw these little flurries, and she's got decent speed, but none of them land. They don't really land with any effectiveness. And that girl Sharapova really was not given the credit for the work that she was doing.
Sharapova was actually putting a little bit of direction and stepping into her punches, unlike Katie Taylor, who everything that she threw was in flurries and it was just soft powder puff crap is all it was. It was really having no effect on Sharapova. Even Katie Taylor's hardest punches she hit Sharapova with, Sharapova did the right thing. She stepped back. She went with the flow of punches. All the things that Katie Taylor, for being this amateur pedigree, never learned.
Yeah,
this girl learned.
Eric, did you get a chance to see any of that fight?
I did not.
Okay.
I was here.
Really good.
This referee, this guy, whatever Latham was his last name, atrocious. From round one on, he allowed both fighters to hold and punch in the clinches. Literally, he did nothing to break them. And at one point, I think about the 7th or 8th round, maybe midway through the fight, Sharapova started putting her arms up to almost signify, hey, I'm not holding here. Can you please get this girl to stop holding?
He takes a point from her.
He takes a point from Sharapova. These referees in the UK, not only the judges atrocious, horrible, but the referees in the UK are so completely out of touch with reality. Sparkle, whatever, the girl that worked the ESPN card who was completely atrocious, would be considered a top-notch referee in the UK. That's how bad their referees are. Their referees are so out of position.
Yeah.
Slow. They're just a day late and a dollar short. They do not do a good job. Do not do a good job.
I was really, and I knew, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I know we got a lot to talk about today in such a short amount of time, but I was really, really disappointed in how the approach was to this fight. They knew this was supposed to be a soft touch for a girl that supposedly is the only professional out of the Ukraine. This girl came in confident. They kept taking little swipes at her, and you could see right from round one that she was a much better skilled fighter.
Yeah, she was from Kazakhstan. She was from
Kazakhstan. I'm sorry.
And I don't know if you saw this, but prior to the fight, when Eddie Hearn joined Tony Bellew on stage with whoever the new girl is doing the interview, he was saying how they've been a nightmare. They've been complaining that this. Well, yeah. but if you've ever, I don't blame him. But if you've ever talked to anybody that has fought in the UK and is brought in as the opponent, they don't treat you well. I remember Robert and Joan telling me stories of when they fought Flanagan. Oh my God, they were put up in chintzy, dumpy hotels. They were given very, very short spurts
turn
of
up
training.
the air conditioning or the heat
or the heat, depending on when
just
it is.
to mess with you. I mean, it's terrible how people are treated when they go overseas. I've heard this story numerous times.
Yeah. So anyways, Katie Taylor, to sum it up, she wins the decision over this girl. Didn't really prove much. AJ, you said it. I agree. When this fight with Serrano does eventually happen, this will be the Katie Taylor's last fight because Amanda Serrano is going to beat her up. Amanda Serrano is going to beat her up and knock her out.
As long as Amanda Serrano has her head in the right place, as long as she doesn't have it filled with this Trilla thing and hanging out with guys like Jake Paul and Logan Paul and all this crap, as long as her head's in the right place, she goes in there, she completely annihilates Katie Taylor and ends her career.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So
there's no comparison.
No,
there really is. There really isn't any comparison. Okay, let's jump to the main event. Connor Ben, the son of Nigel Ben, scores a 4th round. Pretty devastating knockout over Chris Algieri.
Yeah. Chris Algieri still fighting?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one, Eric.
Exactly. And here's a guy who's like, he's got 1 foot in, he's got 1 foot out. Nice enough guy. Robert knows Chris very well, and he speaks very high. He says a really nice kid. He knows a lot about nutrition, and that's where AJ. You said it last week. That's where he needs to.
That's his calling, man. I think Chris Algieri could be the standard when it comes to being a strength and conditioning coach in boxing. If he decided to go that route, he's very articulate behind the mic, but he doesn't come off as a guy that you could really take seriously because he's so well-mannered. He kind of reminds you of that substitute teacher that comes in that doesn't realize that the school's in the middle of the ghetto. So
he's had a comparable, and it's funny, he's had a comparable career to Sergio Mora in terms of accomplishments, fought the bigger fighters, did win a version of a title.
I think he did much better than Sergio Mora.
Yeah, but Sergio Mora comes across as very arrogant, very like, well, I know this because I was a fighter and I did this. Algieri doesn't come across that way. But Chris Algieri, from the moment he walked out of the ring, I don't know if you guys could read this when you see people. He didn't know how to act. Do I want to act like the smiley guy? Do I want to act like the tough guy? He didn't know what to do in the ring. His mind was going in so many different directions, and he fought in the same manner. He didn't know if he was going to move, if he was going to come forward. He was doing this little herky-jerky thing at times. He just had no plan A. He had like 6 different options, and he was trying to do them all simultaneously, and it really just spelled doom for him.
I thought Algieri had the right message in the beginning when he was throwing. That hook that he was throwing was landing on Conor Benn. It was landing perfectly. Now, Algieri's not known for being a massive puncher.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you're right. It's like he got confused. And at that one moment when he wasn't sure what he was going to do next is when Conor Benn catches him with the shot. But really makes me laugh is the fact is I got to hear his dad, Big Mouth Nigel Benn, on the side saying, well, we could have ended this in the first round, but we decided to wait. It's like, dude, come on, man. You need to stop, right?
Conor Benn, he doesn't seem like a bad kid. He understands he's got a lot to live up to. I like the fact that he still has a good relationship with his dad, because I don't know what the history is there, but I like that. And he shows respect to his dad. And he said, "No, Dad, I'm always going to be in your shadow." And he's okay with that. But one thing that the UK guys are they're delusional. They're completely delusional. And the only one that said it right was Andy Lee.
Yep.
Andy Lee's the only one that said it right. And when they started talking about the best guys at 147, and he's like, listen, man, we need to pump the brakes. This kid needs beating a 37-year-old Chris Algieri, who's a part-time fighter. I mean, they were just trying to emphasize, they were just trying to say, well, he did something that nobody else was able to do to Chris Algieri. But yeah, Chris Algieri has, yes, he's had a couple fights here the last couple of years, but against, marginal opponents or whatever. He's not a world-class fighter anymore. He's a fringe contender at this point. So beating a fringe contender, to me, it's no better than his wins over guys like Granados and stuff like that. And he had a tough time with Granados. He says Granados, didn't really want to, engage or whatever. And that may be true, but Granados is not a 147-pounder either. But
no, he's not.
Conor Benn is in for a rude awakening. Their talk is now for him to come across the pond and fight Adrian Broner. Right?
Anybody with a good left has got to take the kid out.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, Adrian Broner. Okay, another inactive fighter, hasn't fought since he lost to Manny Pacquiao almost 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago. I don't understand what the fascination is with these guys like Conor Benn. Why are you calling out these old and semi-retired fighters? If you're world class,
that's the thing with every one of them, bro.
Dude,
when was the last time Katie Taylor? We just talked about another European fighter. When was the last time Katie Taylor actually fought a fighter that has fought and won in some type of normal, fashion? She's always got these people just like Conor Benn and everybody else, or be Chris Eubanks. They're always looking to take. Conor Benn's already talking about fighting Amir Khan, the winner of Amir Khan and Kell Brook. I'm like, come on.
What is that going to prove?
Is this just another version of what goes on in heavyweight boxing in the UK when you got Chisora fighting against, Dillian White, who's fighting against, this? It's ridiculous, man.
I know there's so many other guys that they can.
What do you think about that, Eric? Do you agree?
You know what, you guys, yeah.
It's frustrating though, isn't it? Because I'm gonna turn on, honestly, Mike, this segues into what we wanted to talk about later on about the fact that some of these opponents, they're being spoon-fed garbage, and then the people that are announcing the fight are sitting there acting like they just changed the world of boxing in front of our eyes. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So Conor Benn, I want to see if he actually does come across the pond and takes on somebody. And I'm not talking about an Adrian Broner. I'm not saying he's got to fight a top 10 guy, but if you really think you're world class, you got to fight a top 15 guy.
They brought up Virgil Ortiz. I know that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. Are you kidding me? Virgil Ortiz is way too skilled for Conor Benn. Conor Benn's a tough kid. He's got decent power. I'm not going to say this.
Little chinny though.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Algieri wasn't the guy that was going to test it, and that is exactly why Algieri was
shots. And you saw Conor kind of give a little flinch a little bit.
Algieri did give him a couple of good shots there, and he did kind of.
Yeah, and if you're getting a little,
touched up by
tweaking a little bit from Chris Algieri, believe me, Ortiz is gonna put you to sleep.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump all the way across the Western Hemisphere. We're gonna take it from the UK, Liverpool. We're gonna now land in Carson, California, where Showtime put on a card last night. TGB Promotions. I mean, there was a couple good undercard fights. I got to tell you guys honestly, I didn't even get to see the Donaire fight till today because right when that fight was about to start, I'm not kidding you, my entire Christmas tree fell down. The entire thing fell down. I was sitting there and it fell down in ornaments and broken in water everywhere. I was like, what the F? True story, man. It never happened in 20 years, man. And it just so happens that
what do they call those things, those little things? The duendes?
I think Crumpus did it, dude.
Oh, you got a duende, dude. Those little tiny people that hide in your walls and clip your toenails.
Well, dude, push your tree, dude. Well, dude, it was 20 years to the day that I bought this house. Yesterday. I'm not kidding you. That's a goocher. That's a bad omen. And I'm home alone right now. I'm a little bit freaked out.
You're lucky it was your Christmas tree that fell.
Sell, dude. Get the hell out.
That fell on your house, dude. You know?
Dude. Anyway. So okay. So Nonito Donaire took on a very young good fighter, Raymart Gaballo.
I'm really high on this kid. I've been high on this kid for a while. I'm gonna tell you why. Not just is he a class act like Donaire, but this kid I loved. Don't get me wrong. Donaire fought the perfect fight. Raymart was winning the fight. He was winning. I thought he was winning. He's the more, you could see flashes that he's not your traditional Filipino fighter. He has so many levels of how he could fight, but he just got caught by a paralyzing body shot.
And he tried to get up and he just went right back down.
But I love what Donaire said to him. Donaire tells us this young kid, you know, who's out of General Santos, where my wife is from, and tells him, you know, it's not over. This is one fight. And if you need help, I'm there for you. And that's what we need in boxing, you know? Yeah.
All right. Hey, Neil's going to jump on in a minute because he's got some interesting takes on the wagering, how they went in for that Crawford fight. I know it's a week, but he's going to be jumping on soon. So keep an eye for him.
All
right. Hey, so you guys, okay, like I said, I had a little mini emergency here. So you guys tell me a little bit about this kid who fought on the undercard, this Canadian kid, Crowley.
Oh, he was awesome.
Wow, yeah. Me and Eric were talking during that.
He looked a little bit like a smaller version of Caleb Plant.
Thank you. I was going to say the same thing.
But he was impressive, man.
Yeah,
he was impressive.
He went down early in the fight, right? But got up and battled back, right?
He got
just got caught. He got
caught. He wasn't hurt at all. It was more almost kind of like a flash knockdown in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
hey,
go ahead,
guys. I'm gonna mute for a little bit. Okay, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
So, getting back what we were talking about with Cody Crowley, one of the things I really, really liked about him was here's a guy that they talked about the amount of sacrifices that this guy has endured just to get to where he's at. This is a guy who went out and sold $17,000 worth of tickets just to get on an event. This is a guy who started his own promotional company, a small one in Canada, just to get his name out there. Then to get into this event, he had to sell his car just to get enough to get into this event against the number one contender, the guy who's been waiting for almost 2 years to fight Errol Spence. And I'm not going to say it right, bro.
Yeah. The Russian fighter.
Yeah. His name is Abdulkabrov or something like that, or whatever. But the guy was undefeated just like him. And he stuns the guy and beats him.
He beat him up pretty good too, huh?
Very well. Yeah. Look, he looked really impressive in it. It's a different fight for Errol Spence. So now he's going to be the guy, hopefully, that's going to be in line for Errol Spence. And I'm going to tell you now, this is a different level. I don't know how the Russian, the kid from Russia was really the number one contender. He was very mechanical, very, just mechanical in his movement, very easy to hit. To me, it would have been easy pickings for Errol Spence. Like the Canelo fight versus Caleb Plant. This is going to be a different test. This kid Crowley trains out of Las Vegas at the Mayweather gym. So you could see those glimmers, those flashes of how he moves. You're absolutely right, bro. He reminded me of a smaller version, but with more power.
More power.
Of Caleb Plant. So this is not a fight. If I'm Errol Spence, I'm not saying Errol Spence doesn't have, but this is a guy who's coming with a lot of desire. I was very impressed. I'm gonna tell you now, I was very impressed with him during the event.
Yeah, you guys were telling me that, and like I said, unfortunately, I missed it. I missed that.
You have to go back and watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. He was just what he did in the fight was all right. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So
So, okay, so let's go ahead, and then now we're going to jump back across the country. We're going to now go back east, and we're going to talk about the probably the biggest fight of the weekend. I think was Vasyl Lomachenko making his second return fight against Richard Comey on ESPN. Do you want to talk about the undercard at all? The only thing that I really want to say, you guys, if you and Eric, let me know if you guys want to discuss it. The only thing I really want to say is, yes, ESPN, yes, Tim Bradley, yes, Joe Tessitore. We know Nico Ali Walsh is Muhammad Ali's grandson. Okay.
How many times do we have to be reminded of this?
We know. Okay. And, and I feel bad for the kid because the kid, he doesn't seem like a bad kid. But one thing I will say is during the post-fight interview, when they asked him, when he said, well, this was a very, very highly skilled guy, blah, blah, blah. They're going to bring me. And I'm thinking, this guy was a part-time fighter, full-time worker. This guy had, on a scale of 1 to 10, he had about a 3 in terms of boxing ability and skill.
If that, bro. If that.
And this is not a knock on the guy. The guy was a tough guy. And he actually won rounds 3 and 4, and he won them pretty convincingly. So when those scorecards were read 40 to 36, 39, 37, it's just a complete joke. And Nico Ali Walsh didn't learn anything from this fight. No. Tim Bradley was really, really quick to jump down and basically say, and I was actually shocked he said this because he's a company guy. We know Tim Bradley.
Oh yeah, but see, I know where you're going with this, but Tim Bradley's a company guy, but he's against Nico Ali Walsh because
that's what I'm saying. He said
he's been harsh on this kid since day one.
He said this is the best we're going to see from this kid. Yeah, he said this is it. This is the best you're going to see.
Sure. Coming from a guy who his best victories were in reality losses. If you go back and watch Tim Bradley's victory over Rushan Palatnikov or his so-called victory over Manny Pacquiao, he lost both of those fights. Both of those fights.
I agree. I agree 100%.
You go back and you look at this whole entire card. The ESPN top rank combined promotion, whatever you want to call it, that on top of, we'll talk about Tyson Fury in a minute, but I mean, it's all it is. It's just a way for Bob Arum to kind of introduce his young fighters to the world. And he's got these seasoned veterans that sit back and kind of glamorize everything.
Well, my buddy, Mike Montero, texted me this morning because I texted him last night and he said it best. He said the announce team on ESPN needs to stop being promoters and just call the goddamn fights. And he's right. They do nothing but self-promotion. How great this kid, Xander Zayas is. How great Big Baby.
Okay. So that's what I want to talk about real quick. While we segue into, so we can talk about the Lomachenko fight, the only fight to me that was actually worth, the ticket of admittance going into this show. So with Xander Zayas, obviously you have Keyshawn Davis, who was a guy who turned, left the amateurs because he couldn't beat Cruz, becomes a pro, goes back to the amateurs because he wants to get another shot at Cruz. Cruz beats his ass again, gets a silver medal, comes back. This guy goes in there against a 33-year-old guy who's got 2 years of experience as a boxer and has spent the majority of his career as an MMA fighter
in Mexico, which is not exactly a hotbed of MMA.
Yeah. Stops this guy with it is just a typical body shot because the guy has absolutely has no idea what he's doing in the ring. And Tim Bradley at that point anoints this guy the future of boxing. I had to sit there and literally look at my wife and look at my son and go, I was this close, bro, to just calling it quits. I literally looked at it, I go, you kidding? Even my wife looked at me like this, and she was in the middle of like taking a scoop of her food. And she was like, did he just say what I thought I said, yeah.
He's unreal. That guy's unreal. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going, man.
I don't know if you saw my thing that I posted.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm so done with the guy. Okay, so going past him, then we got Xander Zayas. And this is more on Andre Ward. Andre Ward just loves this guy. I don't know if he's already signed a promotional contract with Andre Ward's thing or whatever, but here's another guy that goes in against a guy that, they bring this guy out here from Italy who looks literally, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. He looks 40 years old and he looks like he's 25 pounds lighter than Xander.
Yeah.
This guy literally has 3 knockouts and 9 wins with 2 losses, has no ability to box. I mean, you had to go to Italy and find a guy who was probably selling books out of a store, in Italy before he came here. Why do you got to go to Italy to find an opponent to fight this kid.
Because they wanted a glossy record.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
And he gets smashed by this guy. And of course, they're talking about how everything this kid did was perfect. I'm going to be honest with you. I have seen is for all of the knocks that Ali Walsh takes, he has fought the tougher opponents than either one of these guys have. Do you know that Tim Bradley even went as far to say that that Davis is ready to challenge guys like Lomachenko, probably would have beat the guy who fought Lomachenko, Comey that night. At that point I had to turn it off, bro. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, he like I said, he's just a complete joke. I mean, 1 minute he's praising a guy, next minute he's disparaging a guy. You just didn't even know what to expect with that guy anymore. So let's okay, that's enough talking about those. I don't even want to talk about the heavyweight fight because that guy's an embarrassment. But let's go ahead and jump to
what an embarrassment, dude.
Let's go talk to the main event. Let's jump to the main event. Vasily Lomachenko versus Richard Comey. Lomachenko wins a 12-round unanimous decision. I gave Comey the 8th round because Lomachenko literally didn't throw a punch hardly the entire 8th round. I think he punched himself out a little bit in the 7th. Either way, he didn't get the stoppage. They're saying, well, you know, he maybe was not trying to go for the stoppage. Did he maybe after the 7th round, did he kind of just say, well, you know what, I'll take my foot off the gas, whatever. I really don't know. Yeah, at this point, Lomachenko still showed all the skills necessary, but Comey took a good shot yesterday, especially a lot of those body shots that landed. He was taking those shots well because Lomachenko has dropped and hurt guys and stopped guys with those body shots, and Comey took them well. He took them well.
I agree, though.
He showed a lot of heart.
Comey's a durable guy, but at the end of the day, I'm going to just agree with one thing that Tim Bradley did say in the beginning of the broadcast, and that was Lomachenko's not a natural 35 pounder. This is a guy who started his career at a much smaller weight. He carries some of his pop coming up there, and he showed that against guys like Nakatani and stuff. But he doesn't have that George Kambosos. I'm going to put Kambosos in there, even though he's not considered a puncher or a Teofimo Lopez. He doesn't have that kind of power, but he doesn't have to when you got that kind of boxing skill. My biggest thing is this. Lomachenko's got to realize this. Stop trying to dictate and do the job of the opposing. Don't encourage the trainer or the referee to stop a fight. Concentrate on what you got to do because it doesn't make you look good. Because at some point, someone's going to catch up to that bullshit, all right? Just do your job. If you're going to stop them, stop them. If you're going to win every single round and walk away, that's fine. But don't turn it into a show where it's like, I'm such a master, I could dictate this, because you already showed you're not perfect in your bout against Teofimo Lopez in a bad decision going into that fight. I'm not saying that Lomachenko, if he would have done things his way, he would have won the fight, but he didn't. So
he had a mental lapse. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing about telling Rozier,
I just don't like that, man.
But I got to be honest with you. I think I know where that comes from. I think Rozier's very mouthy.
Oh, I know he
Andre Rozier is very mouthy, and leading up to this fight, there might have been a couple things said that just rubbed him the wrong way. Absolutely. And I think honestly, it was more of a shot at Rozier than it was Richard Comey. Yeah, that's what I really believe that.
You know, the fight started putting me to sleep. It really did. It just got, you know, it was Lomachenko doing his thing, Comey absorbing a lot of punishment.
Hey, Neil's trying to join. Do you see him trying to join him?
I don't see him on here. I don't know where he's at. Is he sure he's on the right thing? I don't see him.
Hold on.
Want me to invite him again?
Did you send it to his email?
I never sent anything. I just sent it to that text. I never sent it to an email.
Oh, here. That's probably why. Let me forward.
Hold on. Forward it to his email. Yeah.
I'm going to forward it to his email.
Perfect. So, like I was saying, for the most part, like I said, don't get me wrong. Masterful boxing by Vasily Lomachenko. Comey had the right idea for certain aspects. I think Comey did a good job in some senses where opponents like Nakatani and others didn't. And that was going to the second half of Lomachenko, rather than trying to focus on his head, going after his body somewhere where Lomachenko has been vulnerable in the past. Because if you watch his hips and you watch his leg, he's kind of show you his direction. You got a better shot at catching Lomachenko to the body than you do to the head with his how mobile he is and how he moves. But Comey just couldn't sustain that attack because every one punch he threw, he was getting hit with about 5 or 6.
One thing I noticed from Loma too is I didn't see the viciousness in his punches the same way he threw him at Nakatani. When he fought Nakatani, he was trying to hurt Nakatani. He was trying to knock Nakatani's head off. I don't think he felt
Nakatani could hurt him though. Nakatani hit him with a couple shots early.
So maybe that's why
it didn't really phase him. Where I think Lomachenko, he knew he was going to beat Comey. And I know why he took his foot off the gas, because he figured, why take that risk? Because at the end of the day, the guy does got 27 knockouts in 30 fights. You got to be wary of that. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Not to say that Lomachenko doesn't have a great chin, but you just never know. We saw it in the Chris Algieri fight, a guy who's never been knocked out like that before. Sometimes it only takes one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one perfectly placed shot.
Exactly. And why risk something when you've already looked so beautiful in what you're doing, you know?
Yep. That's well, okay. So I know we were going to kind of segue a little bit into the lightweight division based off of this fight. So obviously, you know, they asked Lomachenko after the fight, do you think you deserve the Kambosos fight? And of course, he's going to say yes, he would love to fight Kambosos. And I think it's stylistically, I think it's a very interesting fight. Yeah. I think if those guys at that fight were signed tomorrow, I definitely think Vegas would have Loma as a slight favorite still, even though Kambosos is coming off such a great performance. My only concern with Kambosos coming off that great performance is, can he duplicate that again? Because like on horse racing, sometimes you bounce and maybe and maybe you know, it's not easy to emulate such what I thought was such a masterful performance, but maybe he can. I don't know, because like I said, the Lee Selby fight, and I'll still hold true to it. I said it back then, and I'm not going to mince words now. I didn't think he beat Lee Selby. I thought Lee Selby won that fight. I thought Lee Selby boxed beautifully and won on points. He never really hurt Kambosos or anything like that, and didn't really do anything big shots. But I thought he did enough to win that fight. Either way, Kambosos got the nod, and so. There, you know, AJ, you have your thing. You were talking about ratings for Is anybody trying to get in right now? Are you seeing anything?
I don't see anything, brother.
Anyways, let's why don't you pull up your ratings things and let's talk a little bit about that, because there's a lot of people right now. I have an interesting take too on one of the fighters in the top 10, or who BoxRec has as the number one lightweight right now. They have Gervonta Tank Davis as number one. Either way, I have an interesting take on Tank Davis.
Okay.
I really do. And I'll wait till we start discussing it.
Can you see that?
Let's see. Yeah, so these are BoxRec, as I could probably, if you're familiar with it. This is a BoxRec 135-pounder. 135-pound ratings. They have Gervonta Tank Davis at number one. They do some kind of point system, which is probably very reminiscent of something like they do in collegiate football, which doesn't make any sense to me. Lomachenko number 2, Kambosos number 3, Lopez number 4, Haney number 5, Rakhimov number 6, which I do not agree with. Joseph Diaz. I don't even think Joseph Diaz deserves that high of a spot. Not now, not based off that last performance. I do not. Ryan Garcia, Isaac Cruz, Ryan Garcia, Richard Comey. That rounds out top 10. Then you got Fortuna, Linares, a couple guys, you know, that. Oh, there's Neil there.
Yeah, Nakatani.
What's up?
Hey, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we're all off. Neil, what the hell are you saying? Jesus Christ. I didn't know we had Duck Dynasty here, dude.
That's not Neil. That's Sal Sagav, guys. Sal Sagav.
That's right. Look, it's right there. See it?
That's Sal Sagav.
Right there,
Sal
buddy.
Sagav.
My God, dude.
Neil, we're talking about the lightweights right now, but as soon as we're done with this little segment, I want you to talk to me a little bit about what took place a few weeks ago in Vegas with this Crawford-Porter debacle with the betting, because we talked about it and we didn't get a chance to have a show and discuss that more. Either ways, obviously want to get your takes on the lightweight division too. I don't know if you had a chance to see those fights last night, but we're talking right now about the rankings right now that are currently in the 135-pound division and where these guys all match up. Because this is really like a who's who in boxing right now. You've got every promoter that has every promoter's jockeying for position. They want their guy to be the guy. Floyd Mayweather's Tank Davis is the guy. You know, top rank obviously has Lomachenko and Kambosos and Teofimo and Comey. So what's that noise? Who
That's Eric.
Eric, can you turn that down a little
Eric,
bit?
can you mute your thing a little bit.
Sorry, guys.
So real quick, before you jump into that, I mean, obviously right now, I mean, there's going to be a lot of jockeying right now as far as going around who's going to be the top guy in the lightweight division. I don't care who they got done with points. It's a guy who holds all the belts. The guy sitting on the throne. The new king is George Kambosos. Whether you agree with it or not, the beating he put on Teofimo Lopez, I don't care what condition Teofimo Lopez was in, doesn't matter. That was a beating. Okay.
That was a beating. And everybody was crowning that kid the heir apparent, the next best thing to sliced bread. And because he goes up there and gets his ass whooped, all of a sudden now they're going to go, well, maybe he wasn't that. Oh, maybe he had asthma. Maybe he had something wrong with his lungs. No, you can't cheapen George Kambosos' dominant victory. And here's one thing that pisses me off, and I keep seeing it left and right. And people need to stop saying this shit. They need to stop saying they're discounting Kambosos by saying, well, did Teofimo take him lightly? Did Teofimo take him lightly?
Well, you can say the same thing about Lomachenko. Did Lomachenko take Teofimo lightly?
Exactly. And every fighter goes into a fight with injuries, not at their best, right? And whenever they say that, to me, it's an insult because maybe Kambosos wasn't his best. Maybe George Kambosos overtrained. Maybe we felt
Kambosos was peaked out 3 months before when he was in Australia.
He trained for an entire year, guys, for this fight.
But here's the thing is, bro, because I want to hear Neil's take on this, and we're jabbering jaws. But I'll tell you how I feel Kambosos can end all this talk. And I think he'll be successful in it. Give the shot to Lomachenko. Beat Lomachenko. Kambosos is the bigger guy. I think he's got just as good hand speed. He places his punches just as well, and he's got more pop on his punches. Beat Lomachenko, and all of these other ones that don't want Lomachenko, the Haneys and all the lists below, are going to just go away. And then it's easy pickings at that point. What do you feel, Neil?
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah. I mean, Loma's going to come on top. He's going to eventually be back on top.
Yeah, there's
no stopping him.
Yeah.
I agree. I think stylistically it's an interesting fight, and it's a fight that will be really hard for me to watch because I really like both guys. Obviously, I've been a Lomachenko fan for several years now. Kambosos, I never really disliked him, but I mean, when I saw his build up to the Lopez fight, and I saw his training methods, and I saw how dedicated he was, and I saw what this guy was, the work he was putting into the gym, I really felt like, man, this kid can pull something off here. I really thought he could, and he did it.
I just think stylistically wise, Lomachenko showed it again yesterday. Once again, he's the little guy. When you're beating a guy like Richard Comey, but still getting, don't get me wrong, he completely dominated Richard Comey. But Richard Comey is so easy to understand. When they asked Lomachenko, how long did it take for you to understand, to figure out Richard Comey, he said 2 rounds. Well, I'm sorry, he's not going to figure out George Kambosos in 2 rounds. George Kambosos is a completely different monster. He's shown that he's had the ability. He's a chameleon. Whoever he's working with, obviously you saw huge glimpses of Manny Pacquiao in his bout against Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
This is a guy who can go in there. Who's to say that George Kambosos can't go in there and emulate Lomachenko and then have Lomachenko fight Lomachenko come fight night?
Did you guys know what the odds were for that fight?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about. For the Teofimo Kambosos fight.
Yeah.
So Teofimo was minus 1,100.
Wow.
That's huge, right?
You had to bet $1,100 to $100.
That yeah. So shame on all of us for not,
dude, it was plus 600.
How did you put money on Caleb Plant and didn't put money on George Kambosos, Michael?
I don't know.
Plus 600, man. 100 would have got you 600.
Wow.
That was easy money
for Kambosos.
Yeah. It was free money. Vegas was giving it away. Like, here you go.
If we put $1,000 on Kambosos, we'd have won $7,000, $6,000 on top of it.
$7,000 out the door. They give you back your original bet plus here's another freaking 6.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I had money on Isaac Cruz against Tank Davis, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the more I go back and I watch that fight, I'm not saying, but dude, the more I go back and I watch that fight, the more angry I get because that fight looks tighter and tighter every time I watch it. I'm like, God dang it,
Yeah. Neil, I want to
what's the odds prediction for Kambosos
and Loma, and if Loma gets the fight?
Loma, right. What are you guys predicting the odds on that?
I think Loma will be a slight favorite, maybe like a minus 150 or something like that.
I see.
Not much, but and then I think it'll tighten up as it gets closer, only because if that fight does take place, it will be in Australia.
Okay, handicap in the flight. Does it go the distance?
No.
It doesn't.
No.
You don't think it
I
does?
don't think so.
You think one or the other guy?
I think Kambosos is going to be fully aware that if he goes to distance with Lomachenko will do enough cute things in the ring during the round to impress the judges. Kambosos has to be exactly what his moniker is. He has to be ferocious. He has to go in there and make it an ugly fight. He has to do all the things that Lopez did in the first early rounds against Teofimo. I'm sorry, against Lomachenko, making Lomachenko question himself, not punching when he wants to, and kind of just being a bit tentative. That's his opening, because the longer the fight goes, the more it's going to go into Lomachenko's direction, because Lomachenko's going to eventually figure you out. Even a puzzle like Kambosos is going to get figured out by a master like Lomachenko. So the earlier that Kambosos can impose his ferociousness and make Lomachenko uncomfortable and then make him play catch up is his best shot.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's got to keep his left foot on the outside of Lomas too,
which is kind of hard when you got a guy turning all the time. Just watch his hips. I'm gonna say it all the time.
Let's, because I definitely want to spend at least a good amount of time talking about that fight from a few weeks ago, because Neil had an interesting story about that. But either way, here's one thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to these lightweights. I know everybody's jockeying for position right now. I think we put our own top 5 together, top 5 lightweights, and deservedly so. I think Kambosos deserves it. But something, as I was watching these fights last week and again today, something really, I don't know, a light went off in my head, and I thought about Tank Davis, and I like Tank Davis, and I think Tank Davis is a very skilled, strong fighter. But if you look at, listen, Floyd Mayweather is doing and you guys, it's all gonna make sense right now. They are doing the exact same thing with Tank Davis that Bob Arum did with Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
Trying to say we have the best fighter in the world at this division and putting him in there with nobody.
Yeah.
You saw the same thing. And when he finally did fight somebody good, and Isaac Cruz, right?
Yep.
Look what happens. It was a tooth and nails battle. He tried to say he hurt his hand in the 5th round. Ryan Garcia showed a video that said, no, it was the 10th round. You saw it. It wasn't the 5th round. Either way. And I thought to myself, it's very, very true. Tank Davis, the method that he's being promoted it's a fucking carbon copy blueprint.
He's not as good he's not as good as the picture that they painted for us. But I'm going to say something quick before I let Neil, because I definitely am very interested. I don't know, you got some inside stuff on that Porter Crawford situation that happened that it's still sitting really weird with me. But real quick is Lomachenko made a comment when they talked to him about some of the new guys that are coming up, Tank Davis and all these other ones.
Yeah.
Lomachenko said he was most impressed with the fighter that I keep saying, don't like the kid, like the kid. The kid has shown his toughness, and that's Ryan Garcia. I'm going to tell you why. Ryan Garcia has shown it against fighters that other fighters have struggled with, and he's knocked out dramatically. The kid's got power. He's got speed. He's just a little bit of a head case. If he can get this head case together, I'm going to tell you right now, he's a formidable person. He's a guy who can go in there and shock a guy like Tank Davis. He can equal the speed, if not faster than a guy like Devin Haney, but actually bring pop to the game and knows how to fight from an outside. Say what you want to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Overlooking Ryan Garcia and what Ryan Garcia will bring to the picture once he gets his head straight and he gets back in there. Look what he did to Fonseca. Look what he did to Duanes. Look what he did
to Campbell.
To Campbell. Even Lomachenko said, dude, that was impressive what he did.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was.
You know, so people want to say what they want to say.
And Lomachenko, I mean, he's a guy, not only he's a great fighter, but he knows the game, and he knows, hey, this might be a guy that may be hard for me to figure out. Maybe not right now, because Garcia still needs some seasoning, but there's a guy, like you said, speed and with power. You've got Tank Davis, who's got power, and he's limited because of his size, his 5'5.5". He's always going to be the smaller guy, right? And then you got guys like Devin Haney who got speed but no pop.
Nope. I think you're going to be real surprised if that fight ever happens between Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, which I make it like Tank Davis, like Ryan Garcia doesn't want it. But if you really look behind that facade, it's Mayweather's people that don't want that fight. Because I'm going to tell you what right now. They've said it before. Canelo's people said it. The Reynosos have said it. I'm telling you right now, bro. They want that fight. And I'm telling you right now. Ryan Garcia makes it look, I'm not going to say easy, but makes it look not as difficult as people think when he knocks Tank Davis. I'll tell you, he knocks Tank Davis out. Based on what I saw with Isaac Cruz and how hittable Tank was against a slow smaller guy? What happens when he gets in with a guy who's got speed and range?
And
they already showed he had a problem with Leo Santa Cruz, and the guy's got no punch. You put Ryan Garcia there, a guy who could actually knock you out, debilitate you with one shot. You got problems, man.
It's very true. I'm telling you, man. It's very true. Tank Davis to me showed major vulnerability. He doesn't belong
all on Tank, and then I could just make Neil. We're gonna send you our house deeds and put it all on Ryan Garcia. We're living in Costa Rica for the rest of our lives, bro. Because it's gonna be devastating. So hey, let's jump in that thing. What Neil was gonna talk about.
Well, a couple weeks ago, okay, we the Sean Porter fight, and we just there was something that was a little bit strange, and you and me talked about it. Neil, tell the story about what was it, William Hill, or how that betting took place and what happened when the payout. Something happened there, right? There was something. I don't remember the exact details.
Yeah. So me and Tyler went down there to William Hill, and we tried to put a parlay together, right? And it was going to be fight going the over and under. I think in that fight was 10.5.
10.5, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Tyler tried to put the parlay together, the over and Crawford, right?
Yeah.
And that would, because he was heavy favorite, but betting the over drops the odds down to our favor. Tyler put the bet in. They split the bet. They didn't do the parlay. They split it on purpose, right? Because I don't know if
they knew something or what.
Now here's the kicker. That fight, 10.5 rounds, right?
Yeah.
They stopped that fight with 9 seconds left. The fight went under by 9 seconds.
Jesus Christ.
And then Kenny Porter is the one that jumped up on the ring. He was probably looking at his damn clock the entire time. It was
so weird because once that because it was ended at 121 in the 10th, right?
Yeah.
9 more seconds. When that hits 130, that's the halfway point. The bet goes over. It's like they were shaving the under. And like you said, we got 9 seconds, throw the towel in. Stop.
I'm gonna say it this way. What you're saying, Neil, I mean, it's spot on, because I'm gonna tell you why. My first reaction, without knowing what you know about, you're a man who knows and understands the system of betting. You live in Las Vegas.
The betting angles, right?
Yeah. I don't. I only know the fight game, but I'll tell you this. I know Kenny Porter and the type of person that he is. Definitely know Sean Porter and the type of person he is. And what I saw happen there in those last moments in that 10th round, and Kenny Porter, what he did, and I went back and remembered the Ugas fight, and I went back and remembered the situation with Adrian Broner. I went back and remember those moments with Errol Spence. I went back and remember those moments with Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia. This was not the same Kenny Porter. This is a man who was on a mission to end this fight. The fact that Sean Porter was so quick to dismiss what his father did and embrace the loss and the supremacy of Terrence Crawford, I said, right there, dude, bullshit. There's only one thing that'll make a man do that, and that's hard, cold cash.
Exactly.
I'm telling you right now. You want to make me admit that I'm the biggest pussy in this room? Hard, cold cash.
People will sell their soul for it.
Pockets right now, dude, and I'll say it all, bro. That's the only way, bro. I see a man going down like that, bro. I'm telling you right now, bro, and I don't care what anybody says, dude. There was some finagling going on there. Neil, you know better than anybody. We probably are opening up, turning over some stones that we're probably gonna have to watch our backs here for the next, whatever, except for Neil, because he's in Vegas. He probably knows all the.
I don't have to worry about it
anyways. But you know what I'm saying, though? It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, something was very fishy there.
Look at the video. It wasn't okay. If your son is in such dire where you think he's gonna die, why was your first reaction to go up and talk to the promoters? Kenny Porter wasn't even going in there and embracing his son, like, hey, son, I'm sorry, it's okay. Come over here, put your head on my shoulder, like he did when he lost to guys like Keith Thurman and others. No, it was kind of like, you got those bets in, you got all that
exactly.
In. We're good, right? We're good, right? Okay, now we can act like we're so devastated. Did you also notice that Kenny Porter didn't show up to the fucking press fight conference? Press fight conference?
Yeah, he was collecting his money.
He was out cashing. Hey, Neil, how does it work?
Well, you spread it all around town so you don't get caught. So he had to probably make a lot of moves. I mean.
Yeah,
it is.
He's got to make all the phone calls to the people that were standing at the books in Reno, okay, Lake Tahoe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like here in Vegas,
it is right there.
And so if you get that, you can lay enough money down, you're going to make more money on what you've bet on yourself or against whatever
than what you're going to make as a trainer or even
exactly.
And
how easy is it to key in on that bet? I mean, hey, like AJ, you're a fighter, right? AJ, I got the under, make sure the fight gets stopped. Mike, you're the trainer. All you got to do is just look at the clock. It's almost like the football coach standing next to a referee getting ready to call timeout. They're both watching the clock. Okay, ready, go. There it is.
Exactly. Great analogy,
dude. Stop the clock, right?
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
All right.
Here's the biggest
give me
issue.
my money now.
Here's the biggest issue. It's not illegal in boxing. In every other sport, it's not. It's not illegal.
Isn't it well known that Mayweather bet on himself?
Well, not only Mayweather, Sonny Liston did it years ago against Muhammad Ali. Come on, everybody knows.
Public knowledge, right? Like,
and the thing with Kenny Porter too, and I'll say this about Kenny Porter: whenever somebody tries to make you constantly believe how holier than thou they are, it's usually the opposite, guys. It's an illusion, and they're covering for something. They're what is it called? Where you're overcompensating for something. That guy probably leaves church on Sundays or says, after says prayers, and he's over at Girl Collection.
I used to tell my wife all the time, you show me a holy person, I'll show you the most unholy person. I remember all the girls and all the guys that used to go to Calvary Chapel on Sunday. And as soon as the church was over at 4:00, we're all at Lake drinking freaking 40s, doing our thing on the boulevard. The bottom line is, you remember the scene from Pulp Fiction? Remember Bruce Willis' scene, Butch? He goes in there and he kills the guy. He goes over and he's making the phone calls. He's all, sorry about that, whatever, like this, he's all, hey, if you would have been a better fighter, whatever, he's all, but you got all the bets in, right, brother? Oh, I'm great. He fucked everybody. That's what Kenny Porter did. Kenny Porter, with that work regimen that they were doing, sold everybody on that they had a chance. And then they just pulled the rug out. And they, you know what? Hey, they bucked the system. But I'm going to tell you now, Sean made more money in that defeat than he would have ever made beating Terrence Crawford and going on, because he's never going to beat Errol Spence. There really was no next step.
True.
Where does he go?
Yeah.
Does he face a young Virgil Ortiz? Does he face a guy he already lost to in Keith Thurman? Or does he go up and face Errol Spence, a guy that's already beat him? Where does he go?
Yeah.
You know, even Ugas, he can't fight Ugas. Ugas already beat him. I was there at StubHub watching him get his ass beat. Even though he got the nod.
Yeah.
So his dad said, hey, son, we're done, man. Let's cash out. And they cashed out.
Hey, let me ask you something, Neil. So, okay, we've got a couple fights coming up next weekend.
Yeah.
18th, there's some DAZN fights. Is there anything else happening locally? There's got to be something before the end of the year, right? I think there's something coming up, but we want to definitely get Neil's perspective on this. We want to come back on Tuesday and maybe start, like you said, Neil, with your advice, to start tying in a little bit more to the betting angle, because a lot of people do like to bet the fights. I listen to guys sometimes talking, and they're actually, it's part of why they watch boxing. I mean, they bet on football all day and baseball and basketball, but boxing, there's a lot of different angles you could.
It gets you kind of vested, right? Yeah. I mean, if you're just like a regular fan watching a football game and, the Raiders win, oh, we won, right? Well, no, you didn't, but you got money on it and you say we won, we're getting paid. We won. Thanks.
Yeah,
you're
true.
Part of the team, right?
True.
You're actually vested in it. And one good thing with boxing is that there's so many different angles to troubleshoot. I mean, you can just go in there and say, hey, these guys are going to be on their feet for the whole fight. No way neither of them's going down. There you go.
Yeah, you really don't have that in football and baseball. You have points and
don't.
Stuff, but you don't really have that. You don't have.
There's also jackpot money to be bet, right? So you say, hey, this fight's not going to go the distance. And guess what? If you can pick the round, high odds, good money.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a fight that's flying under the radar right now that Mike, we talked about last week, and that's the Arthur Beterbiev versus former champion Marcus Brown fight.
Oh, that's this coming weekend.
I think Marcus Brown's got a good shot. I mean, if anybody does,
okay, Marcus Brown is plus 700.
That's huge, right?
Well, yeah, you're getting, 100 gets you 700.
Wow. AJ, that might be when you want to, if you really want to take a stab at it, throw $100 Neil's way.
I'm going this way. You look at Marcus Brown's only loss, his loss against Pascal, a fight in which was stopped due to a technical decision. Okay. He didn't look his best, but he was already starting to come back and hurt Pascal. He was starting to turn the fight when that injury happened and they stopped the fight. Okay. Because of that cut. The bottom line is Marcus Brown is a very talented fighter. He's a guy that possesses strength. It's already been shown that Arthur Beterbiev, with all of his strength, he's got one Achilles heel, and that's his chin. He's a little chinny. So if anybody's got a shot due to slickness and to be able to fight from long range, it's already been used to guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that Pascal is better be, but if there's anybody who's physically strong, who jumps on you and just tries to put their force on you, it's John Pascal. It's the only way he can fight.
Yeah.
And Marcus Brown's fought the man, so he understands that. So I'm just saying, I mean, this is a guy went in there against a guy in BOUT Jack. Let's really look at Arthur Beterbiev's record and the people that he's fought against. You know, a lot of these guys are very questionable. Marcus Brown's went in there and put a complete beating, probably one of the most grotesque cuts I've ever seen on a fighter to this day on what he did to BOUT Jack. So he was quickly dismissed after that little technical bullshit that happened.
With Pascal,
he could put himself right back into the mix with a big victory over Beterbiev. And
he could.
I'm jumping on that
because Beterbiev's a unified champion at 175. He has two of the 4 belts or 3 of the 4 belts.
And this is not a guy who's stepping up in weight. This is a guy who's a former champ. He held the belt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's going to be interesting, man. So we might have to, when is that fight taking place, AJ?
17th. The 17th. This week coming up.
That's Friday. That's Friday. We're going to have to maybe, I mean, it might be worth throwing a few bucks on Marcus.
I'll Venmo you $100 there, Neely.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now that the event is being thrown, and I believe, it's going to be, and here's the other thing is too, it's going to be at the Bell Center. Now, we know all the crooked shit that goes on in Canada.
It's not in Russia?
No, it's in Canada at the Bell Center.
Oh, I thought it was in Russia or something.
I'm going to taste it right now. Marcus Brown has fought at the Bell Center 4 times. So
what's his record there?
He only suffered his one and only loss
to Pascal, right?
To Pascal. No, that was actually at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn when he lost that technical decision to Pascal. You know what I'm saying? He's undefeated at the Bell Center. I mean, like I said, the times that he's fought, you know. So I mean, I'm just saying.
So he's going to go in there pretty comfortable.
He's the type of guy that, you know, he's fought everywhere. He's fought most of his fights, you know, in Los Angeles and New York and those kind of areas. Marcus Brown comes in with a lot of confidence. If you haven't had a chance to go back on YouTube and watch his fights against some of the fighters that he's fought, guys like BOUT Jack, even his fight against Gretchev, who he beat in his last fight going into this fight. I mean, the guy's a really good fighter. And I don't understand why he's been so dismissed in that division based on what happened in that Pascal fight. Yeah, he got dropped a couple times, but each time he jumped right back up. And people know Pascal's got some pop.
And not only that, Pascal, you know, not too long after that was popped for performance enhancing drugs. So there might have been a little something funny, a little bit
was already talked about.
Yeah, a little bit of extra added, you know, oomph to his punches, you know?
Yeah. So
now what about if this thing goes the distance, he's going to lose the decision, right?
I don't know, man, because I think Marcus Brown has the kind of style. To me, Beterbiev is the type of guy that his best shot is to stop you, is to win within the distance. If it goes the distance, I think it pushes that pendulum towards Marcus Brown, a guy who's going to be flashier, a guy who's going to definitely land more jabs, a guy who's going to look to be a guy who's going to be controlling the pace just based on his movement. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I'm actually really, really shocked. And it's being promoted by Top Rank. So there's another angle you have to consider too.
I'm just saying, man,
does Bob want to pull that belt away from Beterbiev because Beterbiev took out Gvozdyk, who was another Top Rank fighter? I don't know, man.
Well, see, then there's some deep dive into this.
Maybe match. You could look into it deeper, Neil, and give us a bigger take on Tuesday.
You know, it's so crazy as we sit here and talk about this like it's some kind of conspiracy, but it's not. That's boxing. This has been boxing for the last 100 years. I mean, we've witnessed it recently with some high-profile fights.
Here's one good thing about boxing. Like horses, it's a damn animal. They're hard to predict. You don't know if the damn thing's going to come out and want to run today or not. Humans are a little bit easier to predict, right?
Yeah.
So one good thing about handicapping boxing.
Hey,
you know, especially with your guys' knowledge, like Mike said. I mean, you got promoters out there. There's a human angle too, right? Like,
yeah. Well, they're and I think Bob said the situation could clear out. But talking about horse real quick, I don't mean to get off topic, but I just found out recently. I was completely shocked. I didn't know Medina Spirit actually passed away, man. I was completely shocked.
At the beginning of the week, he just did a workout at Santa Anita and dropped.
Terrible, man.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. Right away, all the mainstream media. This is the proof that horse racing needs to be abolished. Blah 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 blah.
The horse had a cardiovascular issue, I heard.
Yeah, and they're going to say it was related to steroid use or whatever.
Okay, so
COVID.
Yeah. Everything's blamed on COVID.
Yeah. Can horses get COVID?
They say dogs can. I don't know. But I don't know if my dog's got COVID. My dog's definitely got something that's going on with them, dude. You're getting a big fang. But so seriously, this is a great angle, guys. And seriously, this kind of brings us into a different realm as far as, we're not your prototypical show. We're not going to be sitting here like, there's not going to be a lot of yo, and hey, there's my boy from Brooklyn, and hey, what's up, Scotchy Way? It's like, no. We're going to talk boxing. We're going to do it the way we want to do it. We don't agree on everything. Mike doesn't like Canelo. I'm not a huge Lomachenko fan anymore, but you know what though? That's what makes
I like Canelo. I like Canelo. I think,
you see things on Canelo that I don't see, that maybe I'm blinded by the glamour, like that. What's that song? Blinded by the light, blinded by the light. What's the song? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get blinded by the light, man. Sometimes you look at the aura behind them. You're like, wow, dude, this guy.
Speaking of Canelo, did you guys hear what Alexander Usyk said yesterday at the fight?
I loved it.
He said, I'll go back down to cruiserweight to fight Canelo.
And put a beating on his ass.
Hey, didn't Mayweather pop off about him too, saying
Mayweather?
Do we really care? Do we really care what Mayweather has to say anymore? Mayweather's,
it's just him trying to get his name back in the.
Of course.
Mayweather reminds me of. He reminds me of a dad that his son has gone on to bigger and better things, and the son doesn't need his dad to carry his ball bag anymore. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, remember when I used to carry your bag and I used to show you how to, that was a million years ago. Now I pay somebody to actually do it the right way. Okay.
Yeah.
Mayweather is just a grumpy ass old man. Go fight a woman. Go fight a two-leg transsexual. I don't care. Whatever you want to fight, dude. Go do something, dude.
I agree 100%.
But the bottom line is
he just has to have his face in the camera
anymore.
Yeah.
Say what you want to say about
he only makes himself look foolish when he does that. He does.
Well,
he makes himself look like a hater.
There was a big.
Maybe he's going to do WWF wrestling now or something.
Yeah, there was a big change that happened recently. Obviously, we all know, we didn't talk about it. Derevyanchenko lost that fight against Carlos Adames. That changes the whole scope with Jaime Munguia's fight that's coming up. So now it's looking like it's going to be Munguia and Adames to fight for the eliminator with the opportunity to go in to fight against Jamal Charlo. Obviously, it's going to be Munguia based on what I saw with Adames and his performance against, which I think is honestly a bit of a shot, Derevyanchenko. It's not, and I kind of questioned it. I didn't think Derevyanchenko lost the way they said that he did, but it is.
No. And Adames is he looks good for the first 3-4 rounds. He throws what appears to be hard shots, but then he kind of tuckers out a little bit and got a little bit winded, and Jaime will mow him down. Jaime stops that kid somewhere between 6 and 10. He'll stop him. Speaking of Jaime, did you guys see he just bought a new G-Wagon, another one, a nice white one?
Yeah, what was he buying all the G-Wagons? Better hold on to it, dude, till he beats Charlo. Then he can start spending that money, dude.
Yeah. Oh, and then in local scene, Max Castro won his fight on Friday night in Arizona. He stopped the kid in 2 rounds.
So was that the kid who screwed him twice before?
No, this was a different kid.
Okay, I saw that he won the fight, dude. And so he stopped him in 2 rounds?
2 rounds, yeah. Had him up against the ropes, hit him with some good shots, and then he had him, but then he landed this uppercut that just lifted the kid's head up. And then
I'll tell you, dude, this kid Max Castro, when I first saw him, bro, Mike was like, this is that 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I'm like, where? And he's like, the guy in the ring sparring with Renee. And I go, that guy's like 30 years old. What are you talking about? They're not an 18-year-old kid. Dude,
he's only 18 years old. He's a
yeah. But
great kid. So, anyways, he got the win. He moved to 3-0. So
awesome.
Sharky's fight got canceled. The fighter
Servine.
And
Another
I felt bad because he was primed. He was ready. His sparring was complete. Had a good camp, made weight, and then it's just a shame, man, with these lower level.
He's training with Robert Alcazar now, right?
Yeah, he's been at the gym now for about 9 months.
Right now, man, I'm really high. When Servine lost that fight to, I'm gonna call him Fatso. All right, I'm not even gonna call him Biggie. All right, or whatever. To Fatso.
Bam.
I got Bam. Who came in there you could tell the guy outweighed Servine. But first of all, Adrian was stepping up in weight. He took this fight as a risk. You know what I'm saying? He got caught, whatever like this, but he was never majorly hurt. And it was a fast stoppage. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was a quick stoppage. But the bottom line is, this is a guy who's got some real talent, man. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely going to get better from this. He'll never make that mistake again. Him and his people will never Robert won't let him make that mistake again.
No.
Go after those quick fights like that. If opportunity's there, make the opportunities, got to make sense. It didn't make sense at the time. So he got his one mulligan. He doesn't have to worry about that. Hey, I'm going to keep the perfect glossy record and avoid all the good
monkey
fighters.
off his back.
His back. Now just go out and win fights.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, Neil, so how's things in Vegas this weekend? I know that the Raiders played at home today, or were they on the road?
They were on the road. They were playing the spoiler against KC, and they got crushed.
Oh, and they got and then was there any fights this weekend in Vegas? Or no, you had the T-Mobile event last night. You had the UFC event.
Yeah, UFC event.
Amanda Nunes got beat.
Yeah,
it's Cowboy Christmas right now. So.
Oh yeah.
What the hell's Cowboy Christmas?
The rodeo's
in town.
Oh, I remember that.
PBR, yeah.
And you said those are some big old cowboys, huh?
Hey, those guys from Argentina are massive.
I go to the bathroom, bro. I feel like a midget, bro. There's freaking tall ass freaking hillbillies walking all around, dude.
We were down years ago. Me and little Dave and all those guys when we met up, the Lebranos guys. We were in Vegas and they had the PBR out there, and we were talking to these guys from Brazil that were in Argentina that were the riders. You know what I'm saying? One of them was a really big rider for the PBR, and I'm big on the PBR. I love it. I could not believe the size of these guys, dude. These guys are big guys.
That's what Neil was just saying. He was in the bathroom.
Tougher than goddamn nails, bro. You talking
you
about?
know what's funny is sometimes when you're watching the PBR, get these guys, they look like they're almost as big as the damn bulls sometimes.
Yeah.
And when you actually realize that bull power over any of us, but these guys are just monsters.
You know what really got me mad? I'm
Monsters.
gonna tell you what got me mad. And then Dave got even more mad, and I understood why later. I told Dave, I go, you know what really pisses me off? These guys got this size. They all look like fucking Ronaldo from fucking the soccer team. They all got those good looks. So they all got all the girls all over them, you know? And Dave looks at me, this midget, and he's like, dude, you think you got it bad? Look at me, dude. He's like, I go to the bathroom. I'm up to their nuts, dude. Dude,
I'm in the Nugget, and one of them, you can tell he was one of the event guys or whatever, and all these girls are taking pictures of him, and I heard it. I could just hear it, like, what was going on, because they all had their pictures, and I looked over, and I hear him saying, oh, I bet you there's not many people who know who you are. And I kind of peek around the corner to see what's going on. This dude's got fanned out like 50 grand in bills, dude. Like he just won the event, and they're all taking pictures of him. All sitting there. They got some cash, dude. They for real money, man. It's not.
That's a tough sport, though, man. It's a tough sport, man. Talk about boxing being a tough sport, man. I don't know, man. Even though I think boxing is probably one of the, I mean, it's tough to put the gloves on and go in there with another man. I think I would definitely go in there with Mike Tyson rather than get on a horse like a bull like Bodacious.
Yeah.
You know, that would just not only just, at
least you can run around the ring for a few minutes before they catch you.
How's that Tim McGraw song go where he's on a bull named Fu Manchu?
Yeah. He lasted 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu.
There you go.
Hey, but you ever notice you don't see PETA jump on sports like the PBR, like they jump on horse racing and everything? Because you know why? There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in PBR, dude, and all of them are gun carrying, type of people. They don't play games like.
You know another thing out here in Vegas? That's been kind of suspended for December, I think, till all the Cowboys leave. Nobody goes up and tells them to put their mask on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh,
nobody's going up to none of these Cowboys and saying, "Please put your mask on."
Yeah, I want to see.
They walk right by security, and security just kind of puts their head down, like.
I want to see them tell little short Clark that identifies as non-binary. Hey, could you go tell that guy over there? And the guy's like, 6'3", it's like, oh no, I'm not doing that, dude.
Yeah, exactly. 6'3",
those guys don't.
6'5".
They don't. They're nice people, bro, but they have a tolerance. Because these guys, if you've ever watched the PBR when they get themselves ready, me and my son, we watch all the time. When they're putting their hand on that lacerate, when they're getting ready, those last moments, bro, could be the last moments of their life. And dude, they got that fire, dude. It's like, don't even touch them, bro. I've seen people like touch them and they'll be like, don't even touch me.
Yeah, they're in the zone, dude. They're in the zone. Like a fighter. Yeah, like a fighter.
I'm gonna watch out right now, dude. I gotta watch out. That's some good stuff, bro.
Well, anyways, hey man, we went a little bit over, but hey Neil, thanks for jumping in, man. We're gonna hopefully make this a regular occurrence because like
jump in Tuesday, new. See if you can find anything else about the betting line and stuff.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
Because we definitely will do a show about the betting line Tuesday for these fights coming up this weekend. And what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to put our money where our mouth is, guys. We're gonna have to make some bets. I'll Venmo you some money, Neil. Put some money on Marcus Brown, even though I think Better Beef is I think he's going to win the fight, but I'm not opposed to throwing some money on there if it's if it can make me some money.
We'll do it how they do. Everybody makes their pick. Hey, what's your pick? I think it's going over, and then we can even track each other and see, hey, who's got the best record as far as
we could start with like $50 or something or $100, and then we just go from there and see what happens.
I think, Mike, you nailed one thing before we get going. I think you caught something that maybe none of us all did, and I think Neil could dig deeper into it, and that is Bob Arum just had his 90th birthday or whatever.
90th.
It was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was
Okay,
that's
90th
the
birthday.
first place I'm gonna start digging.
Okay, because here's why. He already took a lot of the top stock guys out of there and stuff. This is an opportunity rather than have this guy take this title back with him. Arum might just figure out a way to lasso, not using the PBR, that title back in here. So if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be a guy who recently signed with Top Rank, and that's Marcus Brown.
Yeah, he's going to and it's Canada. Those
I'm
Canadian
telling you,
those Canadian referees
we
and judges.
saw a referee literally help a guy get up before the count of 10.
Yep.
All right. Am I lying, Mike?
No, go watch it. Librato Andrade versus Lucien Boutet. One of the most disgusting things you'll ever see in your life.
You'll be disgusted if you see it, dude. But
They're like, hey, I didn't see nothing, eh?
Yeah.
Too bad. I love it. All right, sounds good. So Tuesday, guys, Tuesday, 6 o'clock.
All right, fellas. Hey, thanks for tuning in, man, for Enter the Ring Live. Mighty Mike,
AJ Rage,
Eric the Red,
and
Sal Segav.
Sal Segav. All right,
there,
guys. Have a good night, guys.
Everybody have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Later, bro.